Hi guys, welcome back to this channel. In today's video, we are going to look at how to find the right NOC code for your express entry application. And of course, if you're tuning in for the first time, you are most welcome. And also to those who have been here for a while, it is nice to see you again. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please remember to do so. And also remember to like, comment and share this video. So it is very important to note that finding the right NOC code is going to be one of the most important parts of your application or of your PR process, because any discrepancy would lead to rejection of your application. And just in case you're wondering, NOC stands for National Occupational Classification, and this is a standardized and recognized system that assigns a 4-digit code and a job description to every occupation in the Canadian labor market. So the Canadian Immigration or the IRCC will use the NOC code to evaluate your work experience as a PR candidate. And in case you are applying, let's say, under express entry, and your skill type doesn't fall under skill type O, A or B, then those are grounds to reject your application. That's why it's very important to identify the right NOC code and to make sure that you have the right skill set for the stream that you are applying under in order to avoid a rejection on your application. So there are some NOC codes that are on demand in some provinces, and you can apply directly to those provinces without exactly having to go through the express entry stream. And we are going to look into that whole provincial nominee program in another video, so that it can give you a chance. Maybe you out there who has maybe a skills type D or skill type C, but your skill type could be on a very high demand. Maybe some provinces may be looking for cleaners, truck drivers or stuff like that. That could still give you an opportunity to approach those provinces directly. We are going to look at the requirements in another video to see maybe what you need to score in your language test, to see maybe the years of work experience that you need to have. And we are going to maybe look at province to province, so that we may give the maximum number of people a chance to realize their Canadian dream, because so many people are already getting discouraged with the express entry. But it is important to note that this is not the only pathway or the only stream that you can use to immigrate to Canada. So I'll make sure to be doing a video soon that covers people that do not qualify for express entry, like what options they have available. So watch out for that video. Therefore, whenever you are asked to identify your work experience, you will have to do so by identifying the NOC code that best suits your work experience. So we shall go straight into the computer and look at how to find your own NOC code, so that you understand clearly which immigration stream you are qualified for. So to find your NOC code, just go to Google and type in NOC code for Canada PR, and you will be brought to this page over here, which says find your NOC code, that is under the Canadian government. So you open that and you will come to this page which tells you to find your NOC code, and it will clearly say that they use the National Occupational Classification System to classify jobs or occupations, and jobs are grouped on the type of job duties or the work a person does. So for immigration purposes, the main job groups are skill type O or skill type 0, that are managerial jobs such as restaurant managers, mine managers or show captains. Skill type A, which are professional jobs that usually call for a degree from a university, such as doctors, dentists, architects and so on. And then we also have skill type B, which are technical jobs and skilled trades that usually call for a college diploma or training as an apprentice, such as chefs, plumbers, electricians. And last but not least, we have skill type C, which are intermediate jobs that usually call for high school or job-specific training, such as industrial butchers, long-haul truck drivers or food and beverage servers. Then we also have skill type D, that is usually labor jobs that give on-job training, such as fruit pickers, cleaning staffs or oil field workers. So if you go down here, you'll be told that the immigration programs use NOC the NOC code to decide if a job or the type of work experience meets their eligibility. And they will consider skilled jobs as those with NOC skill types O, A, or B. If you want to come to Canada as a skilled immigrant under express entry, then your job and the work that you have done in the past must be skill type O or level A or B to use express entry. And just in case you don't qualify for express entry, if you want to come to Canada as a skilled immigrant under the Atlantic Immigration Pilot, then your work experience must be under skill type O, A, B, or C. So at least the Atlantic Immigration Pilot considers skill type B, and we are going to look at Atlantic Immigration Pilot in another video. So that's just something important to note. So just in case your job skill level is C or D, then you may be able to come to Canada as a provincial nominee, which accommodates all skill types or levels. You may also be able to come to Canada through the Atlantic Immigration Pilot, which considers skill types O, A, B, or C, or you may also be able to obtain a work permit and go to Canada, work there for up to 2 years, then you'll be able to apply for permanent residency. So we will go ahead and just scroll down to see how to find our NOC code. And what you need to note is that you need to enter your job title. Let's use my own example. So for me, in my last job, I was a human resources administrator. But if I put here like human resources administrator, like if I say human resources administrator, then there will be no entries. So I will check under this human resources. I will check maybe the human resource professionals, which is skill type A, or human resources and recruitment officers, which is skill type B, to check whether the job description or the work experience suits what I was doing, if that is anywhere close to my NOC code. So let's say we take this 1121, which is human resources professionals. You go here to this entry E, which sends you to the NOC website. So I will just take note of the NOC code, which is 1121 for human resources professionals. And then when I click on that, it now brings me to this other page for national occupational classifications. So I will just click here to search by NOC code, and the NOC code was 1121, which are human resources professionals. So I will click on search to look at the job description and see whether the work experience that I already have matches these NOC codes. So you can see here human resources professionals. Examples of titles could be like classification, human resources officers, all of these things, employee relations officers, all those. And then the most important thing is to check the main duties. And as you can see here, this plan, develop, implement, evaluate human resource labor relations, advise employees on interpretation of human resource policies, negotiate. Like if I look at this, yes, I did do carry out some of these duties, but according to me, I feel like they don't exactly match my my work experience, like most of the duties that I was working at. And if I look at the employment requirements, then it requires a university degree or a college diploma in human resources management or a related field, and which that could be okay. So I will just go back and maybe say search by job title. If I say here administrative officers, okay, I will have to go back to the previous page. I'll have to go back to the previous page. Yeah, I'll have to go back here and now use the filters to search for administrative officers, which I feel was more or less related to what I was doing. So administrative officers. So administrative officers fall under skill type B, which means that I would be eligible to apply for Canadian PR under express entry. So I will take note of the NOC code, which is 1221, and then go back to this NOC website and search by NOC code. Then I will just put I think that was 1221, which is administrative officers. So if I click on search, then I scroll down, administrative officers. If I look at the lead statement, it says that administrative officers oversee and implement administrative procedures, establish work priorities, conduct analysis of administrative operations, and coordinate acquisition of all these things. I feel like this is more or less related to the job that I was doing as an administrator, or as a HR administrator, or as a camp administrator. So I look at the main duties, or rather I will just scroll up here and see that examples of titles under this profile are like administrative officer itself, or office administrator, or all these, and I feel that these are more or less related to my job title. If I look at the main duties, then I will see that this group performs some or all of the following duties: oversee and coordinate office administrative procedures, and review and evaluate and implement procedures, establish work priorities, delegate work to office support staff and ensure deadlines are met, carry out administrative activities. All that. In case this relates to you, then you can read all that. But yeah, the main duties, I did some or all of these main duties. And it's also important to note that you need to have done these main duties, or you need to have worked under your primary occupation that you're going to use for express entry for at least a period of 1 year. And you also need to check for employment requirements, and this says that you need to have completed secondary school education. You also need to have a university degree or a college diploma in business or public administration. This may be a requirement by some employers. You also need experience in a senior clerical or executive position or stuff like that, and also project management certification may be required by some employers. But otherwise, more or less, I feel like this matches my job duties or what I was doing as an administrator. So you also need to look at exclusions, because in case you're an administrative services manager, then you cannot apply under this NOC code. You'll need to use a different NOC code. If you are maybe a conference and event planners or executive assistant or property administrator, then you are excluded from these job duties or NOC code. So guys, I cannot stress this enough, that it is very important to understand how the NOC code or the National Occupational Classification works, because as I mentioned before, any discrepancy would lead to rejection of your application. And it's also important to note that for you to prove that you have the relevant work experience under that NOC code, then you will need to give reference letters from your former employers. So you will need to request those. And as we have seen, like the main duties and all the job description, then on your reference letter you will need to have performed at least 70% of those duties. Maybe if you are a doctor or a lawyer or whatever occupation you are working at, when you look at the main duties under the National Occupational Classification, at least 60 to 70% of those duties have to appear on your reference letters. And also please note that you cannot go directly and extract the duties and the main duties exactly the way as they are on the IRCC website, because again that will be rejected, because it's just not possible. And it's also not expected of you to have done exactly the same kinds of duties, because countries are different, companies are different, the terms or maybe the descriptions or some definitions or some wordings could be different. So just make sure you research properly on how to prepare your reference letter. But it is very, very, very important to make sure that your job duties match the some or most of the job duties that are under the National Occupational Classification or on the IRCC website. yeah, I told you that this is not going to be a walk in the park. This whole entire PR process is going to be very tricky, but you just need to pay attention, and you need to follow through. Make sure you are researching properly so that you do the right thing, so that it doesn't happen that you have passed all the other areas and come to fail on the part of proving your work experience. Also note that you need to have performed those duties for at least 1 year in the last 10 years. So if it is something that you did 20 years ago, then you cannot use it for this application. It needs to be within the last 10 years before you present your application. So yeah guys, I have seen people asking about the right format for reference letter because maybe they already want to request for their employers, and of course I'm going to do a separate video on that, explaining in detail how you need to come up with your experience letter and what happens in case your employer refuses to give you a reference letter, then what other options are available for you. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also please remember to subscribe if you haven't. Also put your comments on the comment section down below of any other videos or any other topics that you may want me to look into, or you may want me to share according to my own experience, and I will be happy to do so. And of course also follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is @Angie Owoko. I'm just using the same name as the channel name for this channel, of course. Before I used to use @AngieNaf, but I changed so that it would be easier for people to find me on Instagram. So make sure you're following me on Instagram. I am not very active in updating, but I usually just try and answer, or that is where I get to interact with people one-on-one, those who have maybe personal questions that they may need to ask me. Yeah, so thank you again for watching, and I will see you on another video. Bye.